We are starting lesson 27, and for these lessons, we have 3 different sessions on line plots. And line plots is basically just like a visual interpretation or a way to show data or a way to show how things are grouped or organized. And once we figure out how to use them, they're pretty simple to use as far as knowing what's being shown and answering questions based on what is in a line plot or creating your own line plot. So over the next couple of days, we'll be able to figure out how to do that and figure that out. All right, so let's start with a warm up. So here's an example of a line plot here on some seedlings, some little mini plants that Maria's put together. So it wants to use this line plot to list 3 facts about Maria's seedlings. So what we have here are these X's mark the number of seedlings that are of this certain height down here. And every one of these tick marks is going to be the height in inches. And quite often you see with line plots, they'll either label every tick mark or just show you so you can kind of figure out what's what. So let's see. So our first thing we can figure out is if we look down here, so we have the shortest plant is 2 inches. So there's that. And then over here, this 1x above the 8 means tallest plant is 8 inches. And lastly, you can also see that, whoops, let's see here, our third fact here, 4 plants are 6 inches tall. And there's other information on here too, like you can say the two plants are 4 inches tall, 2 plants are 3 inches tall. You can say Maria has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plants. There's lots you can gather just from this, basically this line graph and this number line, and then these X's here. So let's work on some more of that and figure out how to make our own. All right, so our lesson starts on page 553. And this is a short one since it's the first session. But Mrs. May's class weighs tomatoes of different sizes and types. They weigh each tomato to the nearest 1/8 pound. So right away we can recognize that every weight on here is part of a 1/8 scale. The results are shown in the line plot below. What is the difference between the weights of the heaviest tomato and the lightest tomato? So let's look at that. Let's find our heaviest and lightest. So right here, that is our heaviest. And right here, this is our lightest. And this presents us a little bit of a challenge because one of these is not labeled. So one thing we do know is every single one of these lines is supposed to represent 1/8. And you may be asking yourself why there's a 1/4 and a half here. Well, those are also can be modified or changed to create an 1/8. So for example, let's think of this 3/4 as 6/8. And this 1/2, we can create 4/8. This 1/4, that could be 2/8, and so on. You kind of get the idea here. This 1 over here, this could be 8/8. So remember, to make a fraction of a whole, just have the same numerator and denominator. So if our heaviest, which I'll label with an H, and our lightest is down here, I know this space right here is actually 1/8. And if it wants to know what's the difference, that's subtraction. So let's take 6/8 minus 1/8, and that equals 5/8. 5/8 pound. And again, the reason I had to change all of these is so if we're going to find the difference or subtract a fraction, we have to have the same denominator. And that's just we kind of did that ahead of time with that. Okay, let's move to the next page. Here we go. What is the difference between the weights of the heaviest tomato and the lightest tomato? Explain how you know. And all this is basically saying is our heaviest tomato was 6/8 and our lightest was 1/8. And the difference is 5/8. How do we know? Because we solved it. 5/8 pound. And remember, don't say pounds because it's technically not even a 1 whole pound for that. Question 2, graphing data on a line plot helps you get a picture of the data and how the data are spread out or grouped. The scale of a line plot is the value represented by the distance between one tick mark and the next on the number line. Counting up, how many tick marks does it take to get from 0 to 1? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, gives us 8 tick marks because we start at 0 and then we have that. What fraction of the whole is the distance between the tick marks? I know that it's 1/8 between them. So the scale is 1/8 pound. How many data values are recorded on the line plot? Oh, that's for that one, you just count up all your X's. I'm gonna use a different color for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we have 14 data values. And what do the 4 X's above 1/8 represent? That means 4 tomatoes. 1/8 pounds. Simple as that. Pretty simple. And if the scale of the line plot is 1/8, why are the numbers 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4, and 1 on the plot? Because we already know this, because 1/4 is equivalent to 2/8. We know that 1/2 is equivalent to 4/8. And we know 3/4 is equivalent to 6/8. They could be on there because they're equal value. Like technically they could be 8s. We just have to convert them and do that. All right, so let's have some practice with your line plots with IXL. It's going to be V9 called Interpret Line Plots. And as usual, just go up to 70%. And contact me if you have any problems, and I'll be glad to help you.